Hey everyone, this is Josh Sonnenberg. I wanted to say thank you for watching this DVD and clicking on this special feature. Since this is a DVD exclusive, and I figured you kind of wanted to hear the inside story into the 48 Hour Films and what we were thinking, I wanted to do a commentary, or more like a recap, of the 3 years that So Wrong did the 48 Hour Films. I wanted to do commentaries on every single film, but time kind of got away from me. It's been a really busy year since we did the 40 Hour Film Project in 2013. So I want to do a recap. So it's looking back at the 40 Hour Film Projects. 2010 was the first year we did the 40 Hour Film Project, and I wanted to do it before that, I think starting in 2005. I want to say earlier than that. I remember even seeing something about it when I went to school in Illinois, and every year I wanted to do it, something got in the way. 2006, I was getting married that summer, so I couldn't do the 40 Hour Film Project. When I went back to get my master's, I said, okay, I'm going to do the 40 Hour Film Project. So the first year, it was like a lot of high school friends coming together from the theater department. Not everyone was from our high school. The cinematographers were not. The screenwriter was not. And we did have crew members that were not part of the Madison theater troupe, but a lot of us were. So in 2010, it kind of was the last reunion of the old So Wrong Productions franchise. And So Wrong Productions been around since the year 2000. And it was one of the last films where I worked with a founding member besides myself. Delina Coyle joined the cast. And it's actually the last film where we worked together. If you want to learn a little bit more about So Wrong and everything, So Wrong Volume 1 will have a documentary called The Legacy on Me. First year we did Nuts of the Future, and we were working on other scripts and other stories. And just time got away from us, and we had some great stories, but they were really complex. We need something a little bit more simple. Kiss, keep it simple, stupid. We needed something like that. I want to say it was Callie came up with the idea of Nuts of the Future, and it was one I thought it worked. One thing that I regret after all these years that we didn't do sci-fi horror. That's what I really wanted to do. I wanted to include everyone. I didn't want to be the big dominant director or producer. I wanted to include everyone in on it. I'll admit, Nuts of the Future was hell. It was actually a film where I felt it was more trouble than it's worth, especially looking at the end result. Now, don't get me wrong, like I say in the Why Nuts documentary, there are parts of Nuts of the Future that I do like, especially the end. I love the reveal that it's an alien in disguise. I like that scare move, the camera movement. I do like the football stuff. There are parts of it I do like quite a bit. But overall, it was kind of a sour experience in a lot of ways. And it was like more behind the scenes stuff. We got a pretty good audience response to Nuts of the Future, even though it was incomplete. There was some sound issues. We were the only film in our screening group that was turned in late. So that was kind of embarrassing. It was kind of like a wake-up call. And one thing about the 40 Hour Film Project and So Wrong, we do more than one film. Even that first year, we did Nuts of the Future, but we also did the Nutumentary, the documentary behind the scenes. 2011, I wanted to do 2 films. I wanted to do a team building exercise where we would get prepared to do the 48 Hour Film Project, and then the actual. When we did the mock 40 Hour Film Project, we do everything that the normal event would do. We would take a prop, a line, a character, and genres taken from the pool. And a lot of the characters and props were taken from past 40 Hour Film projects, and we would run it the whole weekend. 2011, it was really dominant on Justin Churchill's creativity when it came to stories. He was the brainchild of The Spy Who Sexually Harassed Me and Forgotten. Both of them are brilliant in their own right. The Spy Who Sexually Harassed Me is a true So Wrong film, in my opinion, because it has that So Wrong humor. It's what some of the old material would look like from a couple years ago. At the time we did The Spy, I kind of felt, okay, because comedy has been the backbone, or dark comedy or off-the-wall comedy has been the backbone of So Wrong entertainment and productions for so long. I want to do something a little bit different. And I kind of regret that now, kind of looking at things, because Spy was so funny. It was done so well. I could show people now and they'll laugh. Truly became a fan favorite at people who've seen our 40-hour film work. So after we did Spy and we did Forgotten, and honestly, it was a really well done piece. There are some parts in it that I wish we could have included. It was turned in on time, unlike the previous year, but there was some issues. Someone let us down. And at that time, I was starting to go through this process where my body was rejecting any kind of cheese-related thing. And I still loved pizza, so I had pizza, and it began getting very sick. I was forced to have to edit, do sound work while I was sick. We barely got it turned in on time. One thing that was highly disappointing is some of the special effects, or post effects, visual effects like the gunshot, did not include in the actual project. After Forgotten, I was kind of done with the 40-hour film project. I was like, I spend this money, and I'm thankful for all the people who've worked with me with Nuts, Spy, and Forgotten, and the Nut-umentary. So Wrong couldn't have done without you guys or those people. At the time, I was exhausted doing it, and I wanted to focus on my career at the time, because I was coming to my last year in my master's program, and a lot of my focus was on that and other festivals and events. So I was going to take 2012 off, and someone else was going to take over for the So Wrong team. I was going to come back and help the camera department and help with the writing. I was not going to direct or produce that year. Something happened where the schedules kind of fell apart, so Wrong did not do a 2012 40-hour film project. Taking the year off, I think, did us some good. 2013 was an incredible time crunch for me. I was working on Walmart commercials, working on other people's projects at the same time, getting ready for some web shows. We were actually planning on doing a Spy sequel or doing Forgotten, the web series. We had all this other planned work. Kind of had an itch I couldn't scratch. I felt that, hey, I wanted to do one more year at the 40-hour film project. But instead of doing 2 films, I'm going to do 3. An idea that was proposed by Justin for 2012. He was going to do 3 films. So I wanted to do a bonus film, a mock 40-hour film, and then the actual event. The first film, A Crappy Day, written and created by me. Kind of a throwback to an old So Wrong film. 2013, it was, I think, the year I particularly embrace the So Wrong legacy and So Wrong roots. Our films have that So Wrong flavor that's kind of missing in Forgotten. It's in Spy, but it's not in Forgotten, and not in some of the other work that I was doing before A Crappy Day. Clogged Fury, which was another brainchild of Justin, and it turned out amazing. One of the things I had a blast doing is making the half corpse of Haley, my dog, who was a featured artist in Clogged Fury. Rob was excellent in the film. Everyone was excellent. It was a really dark comedy. And maybe people wouldn't find it funny. They just find like, okay, what the hell's going on type of thing. That's fine too. Every year I wanted horror. And I crossed my fingers, horror. I really wanted horror. Instead of that, a romance comedy. And we're like, let's not do that. We'll take a gamble and do a wild card. The people who got wild cards got set into 2 different groups. One group got zombie films, and only one other team besides us got the dreaded operetta. This is where 2013 mirrored 2010 in some ways. because we were stuck with the story. We rewrote the story so many times. Once again, Justin had a brilliant script in place. The problem was it would have been too much work. To be honest, I'm actually happy that we went with the chronic comedy, Chronic Ignorance. Sam, our editor, he worked so diligently on this. David, our director of photography, came up with such creative shots. The whole cast and crew did great. Forgotten was pretty well received by audience members, and even Nuts to the Future was to an extent. But Chronic Ignorance had the audience laughing from beginning to end. So that's something to be happy about, knowing that was the last year that we were going to do the 40-hour film project, and we end on such a high note. Well, thank you for listening to me. I hope you enjoyed it and learned a little bit of something, and thank you, and take care.